whenever you do something, people wonder how the hell do you do it? People look at the Benjamin Dixon Show and they look at the Progressive Army and they see how many people work with us, how many people, quote unquote, roll with us, and they wonder how we do it. Particularly, they wonder how do we get funding to do what we do. We've talked about this before on the show, and I'll talk about it again because we're in a climate where frivolous conspiratorial allegations are thrown around with regard to progressive movements from people who are ostensibly claiming to be progressives. And it matters. Here's why it matters. It's because when your show and what you do is 100% funded out of your pocket, let me flip that on its head. When my show and what I do is 100% funded out of my pocket and out of the pockets of the patrons, it matters for every single patron when someone is attacking the reputation and the character of the Progressive Army and the Benjamin Dixon Show. Now, technically, I really don't care about trolls. I don't care about these people, the people who want to destroy the Progressive Army. But apparently there's a large group now. Apparently there's people who got a little wind underneath them. They've gathered, you know how the rejects in school, they gather together and they feel some solidarity with being, the group of assholes and who want to destroy. But in this case, they want to destroy progressive movements. I can't go into all the details because it would just take too much time, but I want to say this. If anyone has any questions about how the Progressive Army is funded or how the Benjamin Dixon Show is funded, here's your answer. It's funded out of our pockets, namely my pocket and the pockets of our patrons. This is why our patrons are so important, because we are able to leverage every dime that you give as a patron, and we're able to drain as much efficiency out of it as you can imagine. Your return on investment for the Benjamin Dixon Show is second to none, because we're able to bring this level of production with every dime that you give. There are no dark sources of money. There are no light sources of money. There's no soft money. There's no hard money. There's only our patrons. And that's what makes you so important, the patron. Go to www.patreon.com/the BpD show and become a patron, and you will be a part of what makes this tick. What also makes this tick, besides the money that I have left over at the end of the month and the money that our patrons gives us, are the talented people who for the longest time simply volunteered and worked extra hard. I mean, months of volunteerism before we were able to ever give them a single paycheck. I mean, there are people who are involved behind the scenes that if they were not involved, this would not happen. And they're only here out of either volunteerism or out of what we can support them on based on our patron account. That's it. That's the reality of it. And now I'm saying this to say something actually bigger than the petty beef of about 200 or 300 people on Twitter who found their wind and they found their voice, and their voice is to tear down other progressive movements. I'm saying it because it's actually something bigger than that. I'm saying it because this is something that everyone in their own way can do. Maybe not to the scale, maybe not to the scope of what we do, but you can get involved on a level larger than what you can imagine if you leverage your time, your talent, your money, and your relationships efficiently. You can produce something like we're doing here at the Progressive Army and the Benjamin Dixon Show. It does not require George Soros money. It doesn't. Now, full transparency, George Soros wants to write me a check. Imagine what we could do with that. Do you see what we're doing with $1,500 a month in patron money? This is $1,500 a month in patron money that you see here. This is what we're doing. And you think I would be, oh, I'm not going to take a George Soros. Man, please. Boo. All right, let's start the show. Enough seriousness. I don't give a damn about all that kind of stuff.